everybody.
Morning.
My name's Molly. If you have any questions, I'll probably be at the front desk most of the day. If you have any tech issues or any help if you're presenting, Mike, if you want to raise your hand, ask Mike because he'll probably be able to answer it way faster than I can. Just a couple of announcements. If you didn't get a chance to yet, breakfast is provided by Riverside Technologies, so give them a big round of applause. There's donuts and some coffee out there, so if you want to grab some in between now and the next session, feel free to go grab some. We also have lunch provided by Dakota Valley.
Woo! Thank you.
That will be, if I can do this from memory, it'll be barbecue pulled pork with potato salad or some type of potato salad and some chips and stuff. So if you want to make sure that you get some food, it will all be also in that commons area. Please note that we will be trying to record most of the sessions here today, so just be mindful if you're talking about students or about situations at your school that those we are recording all the sessions and we are then also distributing it to the internet. So just make sure that you watch what you say. If you want to have private discussions, just do it not maybe during the session. Additionally, we do have 4 giveaway prizes later on this afternoon. We have 5 giveaway prizes actually this afternoon. You do have your present to win. We will be doing the drawings at 4:15 p.m. in our end of day announcements. So we'll meet back in here after the last session for just really quick end of day announcements and doing those drawings. And then we also have the after social. If you were able, or if you checked in with me and you want to go or don't want to go, just let me know so we can kind of get numbers. But the first drink is on Fenworks and it's going to be over at Two River Golf Club. Just in kind of their restaurant area, I guess. And then Dakota Valley is also providing pizza. So feel free to come and get a quick slice of pizza, get a drink before you head on the road. And it can be any type of drink. So don't worry if you're like, I don't want to drink alcohol. You can get sodas or a mocktail or whatever. If you have any other questions or forgot to sign up for the giveaway or get a drink ticket, feel free to just check in with me at the check-in booth.
Awesome. Good morning, folks. We are super excited to kick things off today. I want to start with a question here. Who is a returning head coach for a program? Who's returning to support their esports program? And who is new in the room? Anybody new in the room? Awesome, couple of new hands. Welcome, welcome. I'm really excited just to do sort of a kickoff, a welcome, talk to you about what Fenworks is doing, what we're seeing across the state. I'll try and move quickly through this. So that we can get to Q&A and keep it a little bit more conversational as we talk about some of these things. The season that we just left was one of our most successful to date. There were a couple of really important priorities. I think a lot of you as coaches and returners, especially if you're now going on your 3rd or even 4th or more years, a big piece was forfeit rates. That was one of the things that we focused on with a really high degree, bless you. We really wanted to see our forfeit rates fall in line, which they did. We were very excited about that. We kept an eye across our titles, but in a lot of our titles, we were at a 5% or less forfeit rate. That was a really big deal. Nationally in esports, we still see a lot of states with 50+% forfeit rates, meaning 1 out of every 2 games that your school district shows up to doesn't happen. That is what states across the country are dealing with. South Dakota has some of the best play rates and forfeit rates in the entirety of the United States. A big piece of that is the systems that we've all collectively built together. A big piece of that is coaches like yourselves coming to training sessions, realizing the importance of getting our matches played. Most of us know that if we're coaching football or track and field or another sport, it would not be acceptable for our team to not take the field, right? If, Yankton drives all the way to your school district and your football team doesn't show up or your basketball team doesn't take the court, that would be such a demoralizing experience for everybody involved. And South Dakota has done a lot to combat this, and we appreciate everyone's support. For those of you who are new, you're still a part of building the foundation of something. When we think about basketball or baseball or football, some of these sports have 100 years of history that we are standing on top of as we lead students and create engaging experiences that helps them succeed emotionally and academically. But we're building that and starting that in esports. Many of you will be on plaques 100 years from now as the first cohort of coaches leading the first decade of esports in the state of South Dakota. That is an absolute privilege that all of us get to be a part of and a very meaningful experience. So I want to thank you for being some of the first people to stand up and say, I'll try to do something that's never been done before in our school. Esports is so different from a lot of other sports activities. There's such a high technical component. So we really appreciate you folks being trendsetters and leaders in a sport that, has some difficulties, has some challenges that maybe traditional sports don't have, that you folks have had to solve. So thank you all for that. A little bit of a state of esports. I think we're going to see a really great upcoming season. I don't think we're seeing any changes in titles, but we're going to do some more club activity. So we're going to be more open about some spring club stuff and some winter club stuff. We're going to be doing winter Fortnite and winter Valorant, but that is not high school sanctioned. That is just club activity. So your school district can participate in that if you want, but those are going to be really exciting titles. We see that those two titles in our other states that are sanctioned, they're some of our biggest. We have some folks who are on the advisory committee for esports in the room if you two want to raise your hand. And this is, we talk about titles, we talk about rule sets, we talk about all of these things. Your feedback matters to us. The feedback on chess rules, on state tournament rules, on all of these things are really important, both to FenWorks, to South Dakota High School activities, and everybody involved, because this is our ecosystem. We're building it together, and we're building it the right way for the people of South Dakota. So you definitely have people you can pester about all sorts of things, but genuinely, that's just a little bit of updates on the state of esports in South Dakota. Before I move on, does anyone have questions, comments, anything that they've been thinking about since state or since last year, or any newcomers have any questions before I move to the next slide? It's okay, I can handle a little bit of silence. Okay, well, this day is for you folks. So your questions, your comments, they matter. They're what drives this forward. So if you want to know about becoming a stronger coach, about a rule set, about all of those kind of things, that's what we're here today to discuss. It's to help you folks feel stronger and more confident in your role, because you deserve it. So joining me today is Gannon Karsky. Gannon has recently moved to Sioux Falls from Grand Forks, so he is a South Dakotan with the rest of y'all. He's excited to be here. Gannon, if you want to introduce yourself, many of the people in the room know you already. But
yeah, I think I met pretty much everyone in this room between the state tournaments over the years. I just moved down about 4 weeks ago from Grand Forks to Sioux Falls, so FenWorks has not had an employee in South Dakota for
a couple years now.
Since we had about 10 schools. So I'm here. If you guys have any questions about South Dakota stuff, I'm kind of the point of contact for South Dakota. I have a small office in downtown Sioux Falls, a shared office space, so you can always find me there too if you're ever in the area and want to chat. But,
awesome. Gannon's fiance is now a surgeon, and she's smarter than him and I combined, so that's really cool.
She's a resident surgeon. That's what facilitated the move from Grand Forks to Sioux Falls. So I'm down here, and I'm here to serve South Dakota and most of Minnesota. So I'm excited to be down here and excited to be working with you all more than I have been in the past. So
awesome. We've got a couple of stats up on the screen here. Many of you who have been doing esports already know this. This is not a room that we need to evangelize the importance of esports to, but it's important, for I think folks to remember why we're doing this, right? Esports is great, gaming is great, but the effects that we see on young people are what matter. The sense of belonging, the increases in GPAs, the increases in social emotional well-being. We're seeing the benefits that traditional sports has had on students in our esporters. And that is why the state is such a big supporter. That's why so many school districts have come on board. Dakota Valley's AD spoke at the SDI AAA conference in front of a room of 100 ADs. So did the head of South Dakota High School Activities, Dan Swartos, and the message was really clear. This is an activity that moves the needle for young people. This makes them feel like they matter in their communities. This makes them feel like we as educators are listening to them and supporting them. For a long time, education ran away from video games. For a very long time, we didn't know how to embrace them, how to integrate them, even though the data continued to become more and more compelling, and now nearly every single student in all of our school districts is a gamer one way or another. Some of the stats have it as high as 93% of American kids game, right? That's more than any of our sports. That's more than football, that's more than track and field, that's more than basketball. More kids play video game than any individual sport. So that is the impact that we're talking about here. That's why esports is an important part of schooling, and that's why the structure, the healthy gaming that we try to push, the behavior, the rules, all of that stuff, that structure that we build around traditional sports, that's why this activity needs to be in schools. That's why we're all here today. Because when we build that healthy structure and that ecosystem, the result is a great experience for young people where they become better people, just as all of us saw through whatever sports or activities we engaged in when we grew up and went through high school. So, a lot of benefits here, a lot of opportunity for young people to get involved and be engaged. Any question on anything in this round? Okay, I'm moving quickly. Go ahead.
How many students are in the program this year?
We had close to 700. I think on the next slide, it's actually 684.
Yeah.
So we saw the program increase by about 20 to 30% over the single year. I think based off of conversations we're having with you folks, we're gonna see a pretty similar increase this upcoming year. We have more new school districts coming on. You see a couple on that slide. And we are talking to many more who are getting new programs launched. So we're seeing more facilities get built. We're seeing more coaches get hired. We're seeing more coaches get stipend as part of their role in serving with esports. And this is all happening in an environment where many of you saw education funding is not increasing significantly in the state of South Dakota. So what a lot of administrators are seeing is that the impact of esports proportionally on a per student basis is so strong. It is so effective compared to especially a lot of other sports that esports is becoming a no-brainer even in a time where budgets are remaining flat or even with inflation maybe even taking a little bit of a step back. When we've seen schools do budget cuts and when we've seen schools have those kind of events, esports isn't even necessarily on the chopping block in those scenarios because again, that per pupil cost is just uncomparable. Because you take travel out of the equation, you take officiating out of the equation, and suddenly you're looking at a sport that's 10 times cheaper, 15 times cheaper in some cases than any other sport in the district. Or at a per pupil level, we're talking about a sport that is, hundreds of dollars less per pupil than any other sport in the school district. So that's been a really powerful driver of conversations about the growth of esports and why we're seeing it take off. The other thing is we're also just seeing esports programs continue to grow. So here's my philosophy. I want you to think about your program right now. I want you to think about how many students you have, how many teams you have, what titles you're running in your program right now. I want you to think about that for a moment. Here's what I think we're going to see over the next 5 years. And I think this is a goal for a lot of you in your programs to be working towards. I think we're going to see our bigger schools have programs close to 60, 70 kids. And I think that number is going to grow. I think the Sioux Fallses of the world could have 100 kids in their programs. That's not where we're at today. But we're getting there. Every year we're seeing programs continue to grow. But a lot of us know some of the barriers that are preventing that. Do we have an assistant coach who can help us manage those kids? How are we supposed to get enough lab time? Those are some of the issues that we're dealing with today. But the reality is when you start looking at some of those stats that we shared on the screen in the last slide, you start hearing about 90+% of kids are gaming. It makes sense that esports would grow to be our proportionately largest sport in schools. I think that's what you're going to see. So I think the biggest question in the coaching seat right now is how do we get more teams created? How do we help qualify for more titles, which is part of our state award? Because we can't just keep letting Dakota Valley win every year, even if they want us to. But I think those are going to be really big things is how do you field that varsity team? We don't see a lot of JV teams yet either. I think we're going to see more and more JV teams get started over the next few years as programs continue to grow and they want feeders into their varsity teams. So you're going to see your best players are playing varsity and you're getting your recruits, your freshmen, your sophomore, in some cases 7th or 8th graders. You're getting those folks in those earlier positions and you're building that continuity in your program. I know quite a few of you have seniors in your program who've been with us since the start. Going to the South Dakota State Tournament and seeing people wear their jersey from the first South Dakota State Tournament at SDSU was phenomenal. It's an emotional experience to know that we've had an entire cohort of students go through the program, graduate, make it to state 3 or 4 years in a row. And so we're seeing some of those kids complete their experience and now they're talking about going to college and competing at a varsity level and they're looking at USD, they're looking at SDSU, they're looking at other programs. And then we're seeing college programs take off too. Mitchell Tech is looking at getting their program off the ground. So South Dakota is starting to embrace esports more and more. We're hearing more about scholarships. We're hearing more about tuition waivers and things like that. So a lot of mechanisms for kids to embrace esports even after they graduate as the college system begins to catch up to what you folks have been successfully doing for years now. So a little bit of context on that as well. I think we're going to continue to see more schools get engaged. But finally, I think we still have a little bit of a culture issue. So there are still some administrators in school districts who aren't fully certain that this is the right move for their students. That is something that FedWorks and SDHSAA has worked really hard on is talking to school districts and talking to skeptics and saying, look, this is why structure matters, this is why we're doing it, so we need your support. There are a lot of communities around us who don't have esports, but they could be fielding teams of 20, 30 kids and giving an entire generation of students a phenomenal experience that they'll never forget. I think back to high school in my speech and debate experiences, because I was obviously the coolest kid at school, and just how important that experience was to me, going to state, winning, competing, bringing home trophies, making friends, knowing that I have to be academically compliant to be able to go to my meets. I think about cross country. I was also the worst cross country runner in North Dakota. I've told that story many times. Literally the back of junior varsity. I actually delayed cross country meets, I was so slow. And so, that's the experience that we create for people, is though that experience, that learning, that opportunity, that's what matters. So that, again, just reminding us all of why. Many of you know it if you wake up every day and you see it, but those are just some things I want you thinking about for your programs moving forward. Just important for us to talk about. Any questions on that? And then I'll make sure to pass it to Gannon too. Gannon, any
Do we have any West River coaches? Show of hands. Couple West River coaches. Most East River. Show of hands. East River. Pretty much most. Okay. Awesome. Just wanted to check to see. We have some growth out west I think we can do yet. The Rapid City obviously has programs. I'd like to see like Spearfish, Sturgis, Belfouche, Deadwood area get some more programs going out there. So if you know anyone of those schools, you folks are our best advocates, obviously. So that's kind of the update there. Jump forward here. I want to bring up Jason from SO. He's going to talk a little bit about what Special Olympics is working on their Unified Champions program and what they're doing in esports. So go ahead.
Thanks. So Special Olympics doesn't have a massive esports presence right now, thanks to Funworks. We've really started to build one in South Dakota here. Relatively new, but what they've done for the last 2 years is a unified part of it. The unified part of it is a little bit different from the rest of it in esports right now. Unified is more of Special Olympics thing, which is one athlete, one partner, athlete being a student with a special need and partner being just a normal track student. They play together on the same team. We have multiple teams at the same school. Right now, we're transitioning over to having switch twos. And the cool thing about this is that the only cost to any school is getting the switch in the first place. Game, the online membership, is all covered in partnership with Funworks and Nintendo, which I found amazing considering Nintendo's history. So it makes it really easy for everybody to get into this. Another thing that we can do at Special Olympics is help you guys with the cost. So if you want to start up a unified team, we might not be able to pay for the entire thing, but on a case-to-case basis, we may be able to help you guys out and at least get one unit so that you guys are able to compete with it. And then there is a tournament at the end of the year. I believe it's in February, unless you guys have changed it for this year.
It sounds like February. I think it's the same weekend that we've had it on President's Day weekend, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, I believe it's with everything else. So for that, it's not just go and you lose and you're out. They do a whole round robin for it, and then there's kind of a championship bracket. Our goal of Special Olympics is more participation than anything. So if we're gonna do a tournament like this, we want people to be able to come and play for almost the entire day if there's enough units and TVs and such. Another part of this is if you start up a unified team with your school, you are technically a unified champion school. There's a whole other component to that I can explain later if you're interested in it. I haven't moved out front, but very short on that is it just means that your school is identified as one that is doing some sort of a unified sport. And part of that comes a small stipend to the school and to the liaison, whoever is kind of running that program at their school at the end of the year. The stipend is going to thank the liaison for helping out and also to help the school with any costs they have, whether it's jerseys or buying another switch or anything. So we'd love to get more programs involved in this. I mean, if we have too many that we start having to adjust the format, that would be fantastic. Again, it's only 2 students a team, so hopefully it makes things fairly easy for you guys to build up. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or want to talk more about it, I'll have a booth out front for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Awesome. Question for you guys, does anyone, it's okay if you don't know the answer, does anyone's school here have a unified champions program by show of hands?
Love it. Where are you folks from?
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg.
White Lake.
White Lake. Aberdeen, of course, yeah. You have one as well?
I have Cheyenne River, we just, actually, Carlos, started it, second and third place.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Does anyone here know for a fact that the school does not do anything with unified champions? Like at all, at any activities?
Maybe.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Something to look into, that stipend can be really beneficial, and it really helps out in Special Olympics. A big concern with Special Olympics that I've heard about is the travel. With esports, there's less travel involved, so it's easier to get the Special Olympians to be able to participate in an activity when they're just playing on a switch from your school.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I think, a win-win for everybody if we can see some Special Olympics programs start up.
And one other thing too is as we see more programs launch unified, that's gonna help them apply for more grants, which helps their operations, and obviously their mission is incredible. It's a cause that we should all want to support. But they also give so much back to school districts that it's this beautiful symbiotic partnership where launching more unified programs, if their national grantors see that esports is causing schools to adopt unified in general, and we're seeing this adoption of unified esports, I mean, that's gonna be really beneficial for grant time when you guys apply and say, hey, we would like another 50,000 of funding for esports.
Yeah.
And so if the data shows, that information, that's great. You can contact our team, so we help SO get teams recruited. We help them with their training, and we do a lot of that as part of our onboarding for general esports. You'll see questionnaires for that. Even if you just get one team going, I think that's a really powerful impact to get started with SO. And then obviously the different stipends and opportunities they can have for your school district, I mean, that's not nothing. And so for many of you, if you integrate it into your esports, which is exactly the mission of Unified, it could be really beneficial and a nice lightweight component that still has a really powerful impact. And nearly every state tournament that we've partnered with SO on, I've had a parent come up partly in tears, thanking us, because this has been the only experience their athlete has ever been a part of. So I mean, just the impact that SO has is really powerful, and with this sport, it's such an accessible sport. Our sports are great, but our other sports just don't have the accessibility level that esports does. And then again, if 93% of kids are gaming, that's a huge impact as well. Any other questions on SO? And of course, they'll have their booth here.
It's not the same as that with the regular esports.
Yeah, so we pair them together, right? So the practices, the scrimmages, all that stuff, it's happening during the same season. And then it wraps up at the end with the state tournament. So it's really in line with what you're seeing with the traditional season. So it doesn't appear, it hasn't been a lot of work. Has anyone done it with us yet? Yeah, so you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so I think this year we had a huge growth in the Special Olympics thing. We had way more kids participating, and it was really great to see that, because the first year we participated, there was only 3 teams that participated.
Yep.
We didn't place this year, but my kids had such a blast. They're so excited for this year, and it's been such a great growth for them because it's given them the confidence. All of mine are middle school age kids. I don't have any high schoolers, so. But Special Olympics has brought a lot into it. They do their own bracket system, so they're separate from the regular Mario Kart, which is really great. So they're not as overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. And then we also give them their own award ceremony at state. So South Dakota High School Activities has been super thoughtful with that. And so as many of you were at state saw, we gave out ribbons and just recognition to a group of students that really needs it. So I really appreciate those comments. And it runs just with the season. Yeah.
And they brought a lot into our school. They've helped our physical education program with just different stuff that they offer that we can utilize for our whole school. I mean, we're a pretty small school. We have 160 kids, 150 kids.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge asset for us. And that's the only unified sport that we participate in right now. But it's been a huge program for us. It's helped us a ton.
Mm-hmm. And as they were suggesting, they might even be able to help get Switch 2s and things like that. So I mean, think about that impact. It's a Switch 2 is still $500, right? So that is not an insignificant donation to a program. Who here doesn't have Switches in their program right now? Right? Well, okay, there's a huge way to get your Switch, a new Switch, by the way, paid for. And then we've got Mario Kart, we've got Smash, we've got Splatoon technically, although we don't play that title in this state, so I mean, we could technically do that. So, I mean, that's just a really powerful impact. So if we can get signed up for SO and they can take that to the grantors, think about the impact they can continue to have for the state of South Dakota, bringing more of that federal funding to the local level. Go ahead.
Could a student hypothetically be in a unified team
Yes.
and in an individual event?
Yes, in fact, in North Dakota, we actually had a student placed in the top tiers at state and also was a unified athlete. And this is one of the only sports where that actually becomes, well, quote, an issue, but it's a really good issue to have. It's showing that these students are being able to work and succeed in both environments, in the unified environment, where they can meet peers that are like themselves. My brother has autism. Supporting this cause is just really important to me personally. And just knowing that, you know, he was in cross country, but also something like this would have really spoke to him, and that he can have peers across multiple environments. That's just really good for making our young people multidimensional. Yeah, great question. Yep. Okay, great question. I love this. This is what this is for. Go ahead.
Are there weekly matches for it?
So I don't know if we're doing that in South Dakota yet. We can, and we can open up a scrimmage system. North Dakota does want weekly practices. We don't want to overwhelm anybody to get SO started. But I don't totally remember. I don't know if you and Molly had talked about it. I know you're just getting into your role, so that's something that we can discuss. In North Dakota, they are trying to do more like weekly matches or practices. But again, it's a lot more, let's say, casual of a setting. So yeah.
Okay.
I know that was kind of a non-answer, but that was my best answer.
It would be awesome if there were, because that would get them to come regularly.
Yes. Yep.
Our
One more.
kids participated in both the regular season and then in the Special Olympics. They just continued with their team from the regular season into that. So
That's awesome. There's one more question. Go ahead.
So just a confirmation, so for regular season, we use Switch 1, which is the Mario Kart Deluxe 8, or 8 Deluxe. So for special, you use Switch 2, which is the Mario Kart World.
So good question. We're still using Mario Kart 8 at this time. I think you will see a movement to switch towards the new Mario Kart Worlds over the next few years, but both Switches should be capable of running Mario Kart 8, I believe, 8 Plus or whatever, and then Mario Kart 8 is probably going to be our Mario Kart for the next couple of years. When we start getting access to the license for Worlds, where we can hopefully give that to your school districts for free, that'll be a really big thing for us. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is kind of a hard one, but if you were in a district, so like one of our shoes, then would you maybe not invest a ton into switches?
I would move to Switch 2s. If I was talking to your administrator and getting a budget, I would definitely start moving to Switch 2s, because I think you're just going to see the technology become obsolete. I think you're going to start running into more network issues. I think you're going to see more. I think a new Smash will come out, things like that. So if you're looking at buying, I think that Switch 2 is like $150 more. So from a bang for buck perspective, I think the Switch 2 is just the better bet at this time. I would start making that transition as districts. Yeah. And that's a huge piece from myself.
Nintendo just announced they will stop production of Switch Ones.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And so we're trying to tell Nintendo to give us enough time to make this transition, because we don't want to say, okay, everyone, we're moving to Mario Kart Worlds, and then I think a lot of young people aren't on Worlds yet. They're still on Mario Kart 8 for when they play. But I think you will organically see more kids will get Switch 2s for Christmas. They'll get Worlds with the Switch 2. They'll play Worlds, and then our meta will change and we'll move to Worlds instead of Mario Kart 8. So I think that's going to happen. There's going to be this probably year of discomfort, because whatever decision we make will be wrong, where like 40 or 50% of kids will be on Worlds and 40 or 50% of kids will be on 8. And so we'll be in this awkward transition time. Go ahead.
One more word. So, like, let's say we get to a point where we get the codes for Mario Kart Worlds and everything.
Yeah.
But they haven't released a new Smash yet for Switch 2. Would we hold off until they got a new Smash Bros. Game, or would we want to run both systems?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to say, because I think you're right. I think I don't know what we're going to see in terms of a new Smash. As we know more of that, because we do have regular meetings as part of the association that we're a part of with Nintendo, so that's every 2 weeks. They haven't told us that they're even announcing a new Smash, so we've got time on that. But I think you'll be able to run all of those games backwards compatible on the Switch 2. Okay. So you'll be able to download them all and move them all over to the Switch 2.
Okay, cool.
We've got a few more things to cover, so we're running a little bit behind, so we'll be getting out to our next sessions a little late here. That's okay, because these are exactly the kind of questions we want to field. I'll try and make myself available and the team available during lunch as well, or during other periods of the day. So if you guys want to come find us at the booth and ask some additional questions, please do so. I want to talk just a little bit about Fenwick's mission. So, as many of you know, we're the esports folks, but our mission is actually the backbone of high-tech activities. So we believe in energizing sport and play in a way that gets young people engaged. That means creating new activities like esports and drone racing, but that also means energizing traditional activities like golf. So many of you have heard that we're starting a couple of new programs. We're having a golf simulator league this year. So that means that during the winter, students are able to continue to compete in golf. And if any of you, anyone here a golf coach? Anybody here coach golf or a golf player? Okay, we got a couple golfers at least. As golfers, I'm not very good. Many of you know we can't get out during the winter. I mean, it's just, we have a very elongated season. Sometimes you're not even on a golf course till March, April, May in our states. So that's something new that we're doing and we're letting people know about. We have drone racing that we've been doing for years, and then we have the Broadcast Academy. Gannon, I don't know if you want to speak on some of these things. I'm happy to talk on it too, but
Yeah, no, golf seems really the big new one that we're betaing, I guess. It's kind of the golf sim beta will be for this upcoming season. So if your school, do any schools here have a golf sim? More than I thought, okay. So there's definitely some schools out there that have golf sims at the school, if not easy access to them at the local course. If that's something you guys have access to and your golf coach is interested in, we'd love to talk about the golf sim league. Kind of a cool thing that gets golfers out during the winter. Drone racing program, a lot of schools doing that, that's growing. We have a new jersey order design system, so for anyone that's done jerseys with us in the past, one of the biggest complaints is the ordering system and the design system has been somewhat complicated. So there's a new platform functionality now for jersey design, which looks really, really nice.
I'll talk about just a little bit more because I'm on the software side of the company, and that's fully built into the platform. So you'll be able to design or submit designs, order, track your orders, everything right to the platform. We'll also be able to give you deadlines and timelines on jerseys as well. So that's going to be really helpful. So you know, okay, I'm going to order my jerseys by this drop dead date. I've already got my rosters in the platform, so it lets you do everything in one spot. Buying jerseys through us is a phenomenal way to support the league, support our team, and support our mission. So we really appreciate it when folks are getting their esports or drone jerseys through us. It means a lot to us because, you know, a lot of those things come back to, okay, how can we grow? What can we do? And how can we do more for the state? So we really appreciate it when you folks are able to use that system. Many of your schools sign our contracts, and in our contracts we have the jerseys, but you'll be able to order your jerseys for players, for parents, for yourselves, right through the platform. And that's super exciting. That's also going to help any order complications or things like that. We got those tariffs went into effect in the middle of our season, and that caused some order issues this year. So this whole system is there to prevent that. So we're super excited for that and appreciate you folks because it supports us a lot when people do that.
And then we love to see your guys' esports labs. Our marketing guy asked if we could get some pictures from esports labs. If anyone's got an esports lab they want to show off, we'd love to get pictures of your esports lab. Send it to whatever Fenworks contact you have, and we'd love to show those off to the rest of the state and show them off to other people that are looking at doing the same thing. So.
I'll ask one quick question. Is anyone here not doing drone racing that's a little interested in learning more? We know that there was quite a few people and a lot of school districts. Awesome, we'll come chat with you folks. Right there. Okay, come talk to us during lunch or after the session. There's grants specifically for drone racing for some of the schools, so come talk to us. We'd love to get that started. It's a huge priority for the state because a lot of young people are getting jobs right in the UAS industry. They're making great money right out of high school with their Part 107. So that's been a really powerful program.
And we'll send the slideshow up. That's all we got for you guys today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed one. Broadcast Academy. This is something new that we did this last year. We just got done with the pilot. It was super successful. So the Broadcast Academy is going to be this annual program where we can help train and educate both the coach, so if you haven't done streaming or broadcasting, but also your students. And then as that continues to grow, we're going to launch a broadcast competition. I believe we have someone from Dakota Valley talking about that today, or at least about like the STEM experience, is that correct?
I've covered a little bit about how to build the streaming.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is a topic that's really important. Streaming is a really great way to generate revenue for your school district and to help offset the cost of your esports program, to help you get more funding and things like that. So we'll talk more about that in the future as time goes on. But if you have questions on that Broadcast Academy, let us know. There are some grants that cover the Broadcast Academy too, so that it completely pays for that. Yeah, that's what we got. I just want to make sure we cover broadcasting.
If you have any topics you want to talk about, come find Caleb, myself, Molly. Yeah, pre-seduce, the South Dakota AG just sued Roblox. That's something we're looking into there as well. And the topic we want to talk about, obviously, conversations about here from you guys on. So yeah, lots of different stuff going on. So.
$1 million has to go to after-school activities as part of that successful lawsuit. to Roblox about student safety and online safety.
We're trying to explore potential opportunities.
100%. It was crazy. I sat down, drove down to North Dakota, sat down, we turned on the news when I got to Gannon's place, and that was the first news thing that came up. Anyway.
Go ahead, Molly.
Okay, last quick updates, feel free to use restroom, get some food, our next sessions will start at 10:15, so you got about 10 minutes to get to them. We'll show you where they are, but they're in the classrooms on the other side of the commons area, and then, Jess said something, oh, I will be sending out all the PowerPoints and all the recordings after the clinic, so this, as well as anything else today, should probably get sent out here before the end of this week, in case anyone needs it, so.
Awesome, thanks folks.